Hi everyone, Chris the Polish Geek, and welcome to the review of Furiosa and Mad Max chapter. And I have to say, if I'm being honest, can't say I was a particularly huge fan of the movie. I mean, there are plenty of good things, don't get me wrong. There is actually plenty of love in this movie, but ultimately, I think that it just wasn't for me. First, I'll tell you a little bit of my story with Mad Max franchise. The first Mad Max movie I seen was Fury Road, but I always thought it was very overrated. I was never particularly a huge fan of it. In fact, when it first came out in theaters, I was hearing from people, "Oh, it's so good, you gotta see it." And it looked even good, so I went seeing it with a few friends, and ultimately, I realized I didn't like it, and neither did actually those friends of mine, because I thought that ultimately at the end of the day it was just a mindless chase spectacle without much substance or story. And I didn't even know anything almost about the main character, and the action scenes aren't particularly entertaining or good if you're not emotionally invested in the characters, and Mad Max Fury Road was a perfect example of that. And later I did watch the other three Mad Max movies. I have to say my favorite Mad Max movie by far is Mad Max 2 The Road Warrior. That's the only Mad Max movie I'll outright say is great. Yep. But the rest of the Mad Max movies were and as I said, was never particularly into Fury Road. So, when I heard about Furiosa and Mad Max chapter, I thought, well, I'm not really interested in this movie anyway, especially that I don't even know who Furiosa was at this point. Yep, that's how interested I was in Fury Road. I don't even remember anything about Furiosa. But then, reviews came out and people were actually calling it good, although not as good as Fury Road, which made me even more skeptical, but ultimately, because I love you all guys, I decided to still go see it so I could review it for you. And yes, it was pretty underwhelming overall, but as I said, there is a lot to love. First, I will say that the world building in this movie is great. I really love the post-apocalyptic world and the desert wasteland with the biker gangs and all. And also the establishment of various different tribes within those biker gangs and their wars between each other. Yep. The world building in this movie is really interesting and great. I really love the world building and also the costumes and all, although that already was the case in all the other Mad Max movies, so I guess the costumes is nothing really new. And the story at the very least kind of starts interesting, and that's when later it becomes so underwhelming. The biggest problem is that Furiosa is such a bland and boring character. Anya Taylor-Joy, it's pretty clear to me that she's trying to do the best job she can with the role she's given, but then again, she can't really do much because she's just playing a very boring and flat character. When I was hearing positive things about Furiosa, I hoped that maybe Furiosa would not be like those marries you girl boss, but sadly, she kind of is. Man, she doesn't even talk much throughout the whole movie. Mostly she just feels especially later in the movie, not at the beginning, but later especially, she almost feels like this force that just wants revenge and nothing else. And another good thing about this movie is the main villain played by Chris Hemsworth. I think Chris Hemsworth actually does a phenomenal job as a main villain of this movie, and I think I slightly like him more than Immortan Joe from Fury Road. And Immortan Joe I always felt like was actually the best part of Fury Road, and he's in this movie too, and I think he's really good in this movie as well. So yes, I guess the villains, the one played by Chris Hemsworth as well as Immortan Joe, they are probably the best part of the whole movie, together with the really good world building. And the action chases are also pretty good, yes. As I said, Mad Max Fury Road was basically just one big chase sequence, and here there are multiple smaller chase action sequences, and as I said, I thought they were actually pretty good. But as I already said before, I don't think action scenes are particularly good if you're not emotionally invested in the characters. And sadly, Furiosa actually had a huge potential because we actually get her whole backstory, which is actually a pretty sad and tragic backstory, and also she actually had a lot of potential to be a good, interesting character. But sadly, I couldn't connect with her. And as I said, I'm not blaming Anya Taylor-Joy. I'm just blaming the script, which almost gave her no lines whatsoever. And another problem I had with the movie is also that the ending of the movie felt so anticlimactic. Overall, I have to say, Furiosa was actually pretty underwhelming, and ultimately, was it slightly better than Fury Road? Can't say, because it's been years since I've seen Fury Road. In fact, I haven't seen Fury Road ever since the first time I've seen it in theaters. I just wasn't interested. But maybe I'll just give it another watch just to compare them. But ultimately, neither of the movies is particularly good movie. The best real Mad Max movie is, as I said, Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior. That's the real Mad Max movie and the one that's worthy of being watched. But here, guys, is my review of the Furiosa, a Mad Max movie. Thank you all of you for checking out this video. Press the like button. Please subscribe to this channel. And I will talk to you soon in another video. Talk to you soon. Bye.